Hey guys, it's me, Vinny, yet again with another um, NFL playoff prediction. And this will be on the second and final game for the Saturday for our wild card weekend games, where we have the NFC South winner, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who finished 9-8, take on and host the number 5 seeded Los Angeles Chargers, who finished second in the NFC West. This is the Jaguars' first playoff appearance since 2017. That was the year of Saxonville, where they went 10-6, beat the Bills, beat the Steelers, but then ended up losing to the Patriots in the NFC Championship game. And this is the first playoff appearance for the Chargers since 2018. That was the year they beat the Ravens, but then lost to the Patriots in the divisional round. So, what is at stake for these teams this season? Well, this is the first time that both of the quarterbacks of either team, as both of the head coaches for either team, are in the playoffs. The Chargers was a pick, including myself, to win the division because we thought the AFC West would be more competitive than it ended up being. Turned out it was the Chiefs to lose in the end, but the Chargers still ended up making the playoffs with a 10-7 record, being all the way as the 5 seed. As we know, last year, if they ended up tying against the Raiders, they would have made the playoffs, but it wasn't meant to be. The Raiders made it instead of them, but they got over the hump this time, and the Chargers are a playoff team. It looked like they were going to miss it yet again, but they had a good stretch in the back half of the season to get where they are. But the Jaguars even more so. At first, the season looked like it was going to be them and the Titans for the taking for the division, maybe the Colts, but Titans were 7-3 at that point. Jaguars looked like they were going to finish like last potentially, but something happened. After starting 2-6, they finished all the way to 9-8. The Titans had a massive collapse later in the season. After starting 7-3, they finished 7-10. They lost 7 straight, and that let the Jaguars, who got hot at the right time, took advantage of this opportunity, and they won on last Saturday's game to win the AFC South crown. This is got to give credit to where it's due for the defense. A massive turnaround. Give big props to Doug Peterson, as there was still a lot of drops this season for the Jaguars. Their receiving core has been plagued with drops since last season. It has continued even then, but the defense really stepped it up this time. They're one of the few teams that have gone from the number 1 overall pick to a division winner. And the Chargers, they've had a turnaround, but just like the last game, in fact, all these games in the wild card round are rematches from the regular season, as the Chargers faced against the Jaguars earlier this year, I think September or early October, and they got smoked at home. It was 38 to 10. And that was before the Jaguars got hot. And that's before the Chargers got hot. These teams are somewhat different since then, but honestly, I think the Jaguars are going to end up pulling out the victory here. I know it's an upset. The Chargers are favored -2.5. I think the Jaguars will win and cover the spread, because I think this defense will give a little bit of amount of pressure to Justin Herbert and the Chargers. And I think also without Mike Williams there, that's going to be a big blow to their offensive skill positions. So I have the Jaguars winning this one. And I think, and they're going to wait to see what happens in the Bills-Dolphins and Bengals-Ravens games to see if they'll face either against the Chiefs, or if they could potentially, this is unlikely, but potentially host a playoff game of their own. Again, back-to-back weeks. It's highly unlikely. I honestly don't see it happening, but it could happen. But in my personal opinion, I think they're going to be awaiting the results, and they will go to either Kansas City or Buffalo or even Cincinnati, depending on the results of the games. But that's my thoughts on the Chargers-Jaguars game. As for who I'm rooting for, honestly, this might be the best of the playoff matchups this weekend, because this was the game I had the hardest time picking. But I went with the Jaguars mostly because of Mike Williams' absence and because they beat him already earlier in the season. that's a big reason why I see the Jaguars winning. Now, granted, I could also be wrong. Chargers could easily beat them too, but I feel like Mike Williams' injury being out, and it also Brandon Staley, also the Chargers, if they lose, Brandon Staley is going to be out of a job because Sean Payton's available, and there's no way that they're going to keep Brandon Staley if they lose against the Jaguars, a team that had the #1 pick last year, and just let Sean Payton go to like the Broncos or the Cardinals or something. No way in hell I see that happening. I think the Chargers will lose, and that will end up being the best thing for them because they made the playoffs and they can potentially bring Sean Payton in to coach Justin Herbert, which for my friends who are Chargers fans, like my best friend Mike Ippolito, is a big, big win. So they would win by losing, in my opinion. I don't say this often, but I think for the best case this season, it would be best if they end up losing because Brandon Staley's fine, but I feel like him and his coaching staff don't get the most out of their players. And I feel like Sean Payton, if he were to have his own coaching staff, he would. And they do have some good players. I love Khalil Mack. Kyle Van Noy's done a good job. J.C. Jackson has been a big bust of a signing. But I think the Jaguars will come out with a victory in Jacksonville and go on and advance the divisional round. So that's my thoughts, guys. What do you think will happen? Do you think the Jaguars will win, or do you think the Chargers are going to win? But whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. See you guys next time. Peace out.